Morning becomes eclectic at 89.9 KCRW. I guess in studio this morning, Medeski, Martin, and Wood. And the great thing about you guys, of course, there are many great things, but one of them is your reputation for improvising. And I just got to see that in action because there was something not quite. Is everything all right in there? Do you need some help in there?
No, everything's good.
Something wasn't quite.
You know, we're always moving stuff around.
It's the beauty of radio as well. I just busted it. But again, welcome back to the program. It's been a while since the last time we saw you, and probably lots to talk about. But maybe we should start off by talking about the last album, because I think it came out around about a year or so ago, right? End of the World Party, is that right?
Yep, End of the World Party, just in case.
And there was something about that CD that was a little different from what you'd done in the past, in so much as you brought in a producer from the outside. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we never consciously had a producer before. I think on our record Uninvisible, it just kind of happened, and we had this engineer that we worked with a lot, who was great, Scott Harding, and it he ended up producing it. We gave him credit, but this time we actually decided ahead of time, hey, let's try to find somebody that we hadn't worked with before and see what happens. And so we gave it a shot. We couldn't find anybody for a long time. We almost gave up, and then it just worked out that we were able to meet with John King and hang out with him, and we related to him and how he makes records, and we went for it without really knowing him,
From the Dust Brothers, of course.
Yes.
So reading some of the material about the making of that record, it said that you guys at some point, I guess, sort of feel that because it's so democratic in the band, that sometimes perhaps decisions don't get made or there are compromises made.
It takes a long time.
So I'm guessing bringing somebody in from the outside, actually, you're almost giving that decision-making process or part of it to somebody else.
Exactly. It makes for less thing in the band. And also, I mean, it was also the idea, we have so many different directions that we can go, and especially we do go in the course of a gig. Making records is a little different than a live performance, so we were trying, to find a way to focus. Each record has a certain focus, and we thought it would be really nice to have somebody else's perspective on our music, especially somebody who's made a lot of great records. See what is their perspective on what we do, because it's, at a certain point we can get lost in our own little world. So
creatively, what did that bring to the music? What did that bring to the process of making a record, which, as you say, is very different from live performance?
Well, it was a real back and forth. We improvised basically for a week in the studio and got a whole bunch of things in tape. And then he chose things and said, well, I like this, let's work on this. Maybe did some editing, did some little work himself, and then we came back and improvised over that, and it was this back and forth with the overdubbing and editing and so forth that we sculpted the tunes.
Did you like that way of working? Is it something that you think you'll do again, or is it just one of the many
It's one of the many
stops?
ways. It was fun to do this time and check it out.
We dabbled. I mean, we dabbled with that in past records. Maybe not in every tune, but we always experiment, even when we're recording. We try to keep some kind of spontaneous spirit happening, whatever it is, and it can be in the way we record or how we throw it together after we've recorded. I mean, there's so many different ways to be creative within making music that we try to, but for us, we try to keep a certain fresh and improvisational perspective at all times in everything.
Medeski, Martin, and Wood, our guests on Morning Becomes Eclectic. They have a show tomorrow night at the Avalon. And the last couple of times you've been in town, for whatever reason, scheduling-wise, we weren't able to get you in the studio. It's an interesting time for you to be out now, though, isn't it? Because you've got a lot of options that have opened up for you since the last record. You were telling me that you're now about to start releasing your own records. Tell us a little bit about that, how that came about. And you seem pretty excited about it when we spoke earlier.
Well, it's nice to... we just got off of Blue Note, and we had a great, I think, span with them, and we really like those guys a lot. But we're also really excited about this freedom of being able to put out what we want, when we want, how often as we want. And that's something you just can't do when you're with a label and, kind of part of a major deal.
Well, there's a cycle, isn't there? It's like, you give us a record every year or whatever it is, and then you go tour, and then you go back, you give them another record. But this way, I'm guessing you can go make a record, or you don't even have to make a record. You can just record music and songs and release them whenever you want. Is the internet going to be a key component of that for you guys?
Yeah, I'm sure. There's so many different ways to put music out now, and for us, we can make a record a month, or it's so because we have a large flow of music that comes out of us. We don't get really the opportunity to do it all. We have so many directions to go that when you have to wait a year or two to make a record, it's a lot of it's a lot to figure out. Like, well, what do we do for this next big record? So I think for us, it's this way of putting things out, like on the internet, having maybe some subscription kind of things, live shows put out in different ways. Taking things from our rehearsals, we rehearse and little gems come up that eventually evolve into tunes. But the original thing that we started with is really cool on its own. So we have so many things that we can put out in so many different ways that we're going to try to just be creative in how we do it and see how the internet develops and how different ways of putting music out develop.
Do you think you will still release CDs though? Do you think you will still?
Oh yeah, but it won't, it'll be not the only thing we do.
Right, exactly.
Nice.
What is the website? Is it MedeskiMartinandWood.com?
.net.
.net.
mmw.net.
mmw.net. So is there anything up there yet, or is it something that later on this year we'll begin to see?
This is all really new for us. We're just starting to get together. I mean, do we have anything on there?
No, none of the new stuff yet. And
right.
It's really, we literally only found out about this whole transition within the last few months. So we're just starting up. Our independence, our re-independence.
I think the subscription model is an interesting take on it. I know a couple of people have been talking about that. Is that something whereby for so much a month you would have access to the music that you guys make available?
Yeah, or it could be a kind of thing where like you get a special a specially packaged CD, because there's certain different fans want different things. There's some people who just want to have stuff on their iPod, and there's other people who actually like to have a nice little thing in their hand that they can look at and that is endorsed by the band. So I think the thing to do is to try to fill all those needs with people and do it in a personal way.
Well, I'm going to throw it back to you guys. We've got another set of music. We've got about 13, 14 minutes left. So I know with Medeski, Martin and Wood, I don't have to worry about that because they can always sort of just like end the song when they feel like it.
Yeah, that could be one song.
Feel free to fade us out.
Medeski, Martin and Wood.
And they're lost in our world over here.
They're on Mona Becomes Eclectic. They have a show tomorrow night that we're going to come back at the end of the program and give away some tickets to at the Avalon. But right now they're with us in studio here in Santa Monica on Mona Becomes Eclectic.